des- desgraciadamente, yo no te puedo ayudar. Te quiero ser muy sincero, a menos que encontraras a estas personas. Y si encuentras a estas personas, pues ya Stuart Title ya tiene el prelim afuera y todo. Quédate con ellos de momento, ¿no? Para cerrar tu transacción. No. ¿Pero qué es lo que quiere hacer Stuart Title? No, aquí te están dando vueltas para no decirte lo que es. Y ahora sí que te pido disculpa por ser portador de malas noticias, pero no vas a poder hacerlo si no consigues esas firmas. So, o a menos, yo no te lo dije, tú nunca lo viste de mí, a menos que encuentres un notario que te quiera ayudar. Pero de mí no lo hice, yo no sé nada. Pero el problema grave que tienes es buscar también algo fuera nada más la porción de la firma. Está muy complicado. Yo digo, me da pena ser el que da las malas noticias. No entiendo por qué Stuart. ¿Tienes tu vendedor de Stuart? ¿Tienes tu vendedor de Stuart? No sé por qué. No sé por qué no te dan. Tengo una pena muy grande que te tengo que colgar porque estamos a punto de empezar el meeting que te mandé las credenciales. A la 1 voy a empezar. So, si quieres, después de que acabe, te doy una llamada. Ok, gracias. Bye bye. Tony, you see that speaker?
No, I don't see him. I'm looking.
What's his name?
Stephen Thomas.
I don't see any Stephen Thomas. Did he confirm yesterday?
Confirmed with me yesterday.
So he replied to your text.
Yeah, he replied to my email.
I'm gonna let the reps in.
Okay.
Hi there.
I don't see Steven, Anthony.
I just called him, no answer, so let's give him a minute.
Okay, I'm gonna admit everybody. Here we go. Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon. Welcome to Title Tuesday. As always, we're gonna start in 5 minutes at 1:05. Steven is joining Tony. Mr. Thomas,
Steve.
thank you so much.
Gotta unmute him.
Hey.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. Hey, Stephen, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, good, good. We're just gonna give it a few minutes till about 1:05 to get started.
Totally get it. I'm used to it. I've been in the industry since '91. We don't start a meeting right at 1 o'clock.
Uh,
All right, guys, we're gonna start at 1:05. Thank you for joining Title Tuesday. Let me promote our Thursday meeting. We have the second part of the foreclosure training that we did last week. So we have this Thursday at 1 p.m. We have the second part that we're gonna talk about marketing farming through our sister companies, of course. So please make sure to contact your title rep so you get the credentials. Three more minutes to start. Omaira is joining us today.
Call her out. Must be interesting today, huh?
Everybody wants to know what's going to happen.
Right.
And guys, usually I don't, Steven, I don't promote your type of classes. I don't believe in numbers. I believe in myself. I'm so dumb that I think I can do whatever I want, right? I took a training last week with you, or a week and a half ago. I was very, very impressed. For the last week, the only thing I did is brag about you and how great you are. I was really, really, really surprised.
Yeah. I have a passion for what I do.
So we have 2 more minutes, guys. We're going to start 1:05. Tony's going to start with the ground rules. Hugo Lopez is going to be asking the questions. So make sure that you type any question that you have on the chat room so we can answer, or they can answer. You don't want me to answer your questions with my accent. I will make you very confused. One more minute. Javier Munoz, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for the invite, Jorge.
How's
Good to
that
see you.
termite business?
We're quite busy. Quite busy. Surprisingly hot market. So
You still doing free inspections?
yeah, within within 45 minutes drive. Anything an hour away, like Hemet, San Jacinto, we'll charge $95.
All right. Please remind me at the end of that training so you can talk, Javi. I never remember.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we have a few more seconds and we're going to start the training. Please make sure to contact your title rep for that Thursday training on foreclosures. Thanks to Javier, we have access to a great farming. So we're going to go over the farming with Javier. We're going to go over the marketing with Andy Zuluaga. And then we're going to talk about title issues and foreclosures, okay? Take it away, Anthony.
Good afternoon, everyone. Anthony Zamora, Pacific Coast Title. Like always, I'd like to start off with some of the ground rules. All questions are to be entered into the chat, and questions will be asked at the end of the presentation on your behalf. Please make sure your device is muted throughout the program. If your question is not asked or answered, you will be given the speaker's contact info so you can contact them directly. I'd like to thank all of our Pacific Coast Title reps from Los Angeles, the Inland Empire, Oxnard, Ventura, Orange, and San Diego for being a part of this presentation and inviting your clients. Also, please enter your contact into the chat so we can send you a copy of this recorded presentation via email, okay? Enter your name, email, phone number, and the PCT rep in which you work with. Also, please stay tuned and look out for via social media for next week's Title Tuesday. And also, at the end of our guest speaker, if you could just stay tuned with Jorge Mesa, he's going to give us a title tip for the week. And I'd like to introduce our main guest speaker today. Stephen Thomas brings decades of real estate experience and a degree in quantitative economics and decision science from the University of California, San Diego. In 2004, as a way to communicate with buyers and sellers in real estate professionals in tracking demand, inventory, distressed homes, and market data at both the county and the city levels, Stephen developed a website called Reports on Housing and is considered an expert in real estate housing trends. Reports on Housing has been utilized and quoted by Orange County Register, Los Angeles Times, San Diego Tribune, The Wall Street Journal, Fortune, USA Today, Bloomberg, ABC, CBS, and NBC television reporters, among a lot of others that are on this list. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Stephen Thomas.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So I have should I have been doing this for all of SoCal? Because I have the Los Angeles numbers. I do have the rest of SoCal, but I'd have to switch gears. Should I be doing OC or all of SoCal? The whole entire thing? I'll have to switch gears once I get to get to the numbers portion of it. So because I prepared it for Los Angeles, but I do have numbers for everything. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And here we go. Let's begin. So this is, first I'd like to start off with some summer fun photos. That's the way I like to start off all of my presentations. And this is now the official Zoom attire. If you think I'm wearing slacks, you're wrong. I'm wearing shorts and sandals. That's the way I used to dress. And this is what a listing agent looks like. This is what a buyer's agent looks like. Sure we can all relate. Optimist, the glass is half full. Pessimist, the glass is half empty. 2020, that's P, isn't it? It never explicitly explained how the Brady Bunch had access to Zoom in the 1970s. School teachers next month, actually currently. Why are you sharing this? You're spreading misinformation. There is no way we will be teaching cursive. Pretty sure this is how Hot Pockets are cooked. Me going to work in 2019, me going to work in 2020. Me homeschooling my kids this year. Good news, everyone. I'm extending arts and crafts time by 4 hours today. and wash your hands like you just cut habaneros and have to take your contacts out. I think we all should get funny masks like this. This would be great. Like this. Wash your frigging hands. Gosh, that's a great movie. That dates me. I'm a quantitative economics and decision sciences major from UC San Diego in La Jolla. It's 29 years that I've been in the business. I'm an Orange County native, Capitol Valley High School grad, so I'm a product of the public school system. I have 9 kids, and I'm an avid runner. And yes, I really do have 9 kids. I brought the 6 on the right. My wife brought the 2 on the left. This wasn't a Zoom thing, Brady Bunch. And I adopted my wife's kids. She adopted mine, and then we had this bonus guy. He's 2.5 years old and just about fully potty trained during, we started it during the COVID-19 lockdown. And like they mentioned, I've also been very involved in the press. Our company is Reports on Housing. It's your local real estate snapshot. Way different than what everybody else talks about closed sales. I mean, I'm going to have closed sales. I still talk about it, but you can't really operate your vehicle looking behind you. You got to look forward. So rather than talk about closed sales, which is a snapshot of pending sales that were placed into escrow in the past, and most for August, it was June and July. Now we're in the midst of what I call the fall season, and we hit September. And I don't know if you've been to Starbucks. Cheers. I went to Starbucks, got myself a nice big Trenta coffee today, and they now have Halloween or fall decorations, all that stuff. It's officially fall, and you can get yourself a spicy, what is that? That October spicy latte, whatever the thing is. But I'm all about setting expectations. It's where are we going? What does the active listing inventory look like? So that's looking out the windshield. Inventory is active list. That's the supply and demand, the last 30 days worth of pending sales. That's the velocity of the market. From that, we're able to gauge expected market time. You place your home on the market today. When are we going to open up escrow? Everybody wants to kind of know that. Closed sales data is not going to tell you that at all. Average days on market is definitely not going to tell you that at all. I'm not a fan of days on market. It's a horrible statistic. That's why I even came up with this when I was a real estate agent and broker representing buyers and sellers way back in the day, because I got in the business in 1991. So it's about setting expectations of buyers, sellers, friends, family, everybody. Just because we're in the midst of a recession, what I call a pandemic, does not mean that values are going down. So we have reports that dot all over Southern California. Orange County is where it all started. We have them in San Diego, LA, Riverside, San Bernardino. They hit their 1-year mark. I actually have data that goes back to 2012 for them. Orange County, I have data that goes back to 2004. I have year-over-year data in everywhere outside of Orange County, because I've been doing it so long in Orange County. But now I can kind of gauge where are we at today, where were we at in the past. So here's what the reports have looked like so far. At the very beginning of the year, we had a supply problem. Prior to anything happening with COVID, we started off the year with not enough homes on the market. Then it got to be a very, very hot seller's market. The very, very hot seller's market started in right after the Super Bowl. And right after the Super Bowl is when we always tell everybody it's a great time of the year. It actually is. It has nothing to do with football. It's right after the Super Bowl till about mid-May. And that is the best time in terms of demand. And as far as at the beginning, in the midst of February, there aren't enough homes on the market to satiate the appetite of buyers that are out in the marketplace. So it's actually pretty darn good in the month of February. Then by the time we got to the start of March, we knew that coronavirus was coming and something was a brew. So I wrote this housing report prior to everything even shutting down and all the sports franchises shutting down as well. But we knew that something was going on. But I started talking about how affordable the values were based upon interest rates. And you could see I was talking about 2.75%, 3%. I wasn't afraid of interest rates in the 2s. And I knew that that was going to create quite a bit of demand. So I started talking about that prior to even locking down. Then we had COVID-19 cracks. So we had cracks where demand we started to get fewer pending escrows. And this was by the end of March. Then we had this showdown between very, very low demand, which was just like Great Recession. This was in April, but we also was matched by homeowners not placing their homes in the market. So a very, very low supply, not at all like the Great Recession. So we had the two competing opposite forces. One totally favors sellers, that's a low supply, and one favors buyers, low demand. So they were duking it out, and that was the showdown that happened in the month of April. But then in May, we started to see demand rising. And then we had a V-shaped recovery that we talked about. Then we had hotter than last year. So the market actually hit a point by the time we got to June where the market was hotter than 1 year prior. And then I was talking to sellers about season and day, placing your home on the market, why it's such a good idea. And then I talked about luxury returns. And that was basically the luxury market was better than it was prior to COVID, and it was better than it was even last year and in recent years. So luxury is firing on all cylinders right now. Then we had, why do some homes sit? So we were talking about homes that were sitting on the market. And they even though they're in hot ranges like 5 to 750, they're still sticking on the market. I think Jacqueline needs to mute her broadcast. Then I talked about the rest of 2020. At the end of July, we started talking about, okay, what's the rest of 2020 going to look like? And that's what we're going to talk about today a bit. Haven't quite, by the end of the month, I will have put together my forecast, but you'll get kind of a flavor of where we're going based upon what I'm talking about today. And then I did we did a article on a wave of foreclosures, talking about why there's not going to be a wave of foreclosures. That was in August. And then we talked about a dive into housing strengths. And this is the most recent one that came out on August 24th. For Riverside and San Bernardino, it came out yesterday. And then we crunched the numbers on Thursdays. And so this coming up Thursday, we'll do Orange County, Los Angeles, and San Diego again, and a new report will come out next Monday. So if you actually subscribe, you'll get the most recent one, which is a dive into housing strengths. And this is what the reports look like. So we get into one meaty piece that I like to talk about. The strong fundamentals. So we were going, why is the market so strong? So we were talking about why the market is as hot as it is, in spite of the fact that we're in the midst of a recession or this pandemic. Then after that, we talk about the active listing inventory. Where are we at right now? What are the trends like? What does it look like a year ago? Then we talk about demand. That's the last 30 days with the pending sales. How does it look like compared to other years? Where is it going right now? How does it look like compared to exactly last year? Then we talk about the luxury market, the luxury end, any changes that we're seeing going on and demand, luxury demand and luxury inventory, as well as comparing it to last year and then breaking it down by price range. And then we have an overall summary. This actual summary can be downloaded as a Microsoft Word, and you can and a PDF, and you can place this on social media, websites, blogs, and all that. We also have an excerpt link. You can't put the whole entire thing up on, you can only put an excerpt, but you can do the summary, and we have an excerpt link to put on websites, all that good stuff. And we have a section where this talks about every single city in LA, Orange County, Riverside, San Diego, San Bernardino. But in LA and San Diego, those two cities are so big, the cities of LA and cities of San Diego, that we actually break it down by area as well. And it talks about the number of actives that are going on right now, what's the last 30 days worth of pending sales, and what's the velocity of the market, the expected market time in days. And then what was it 2 weeks ago, the expected market time, 4 weeks ago, 1 year ago. We don't have 2 year ago data here, just Orange County, because we've only been doing it for 1 year on breaking it down by city. Then we break it down by price range, attached versus detached. And then we have closed sales. What does it look like this year versus last year? Average sales price, average list price, sales to list price ratio, everything that you'd want to know broken down statistically. And then we talk about foreclosures, how many distressed short sales and foreclosures in each market, each city. And then we have a Southern California breakdown. So that's what the report looks like. There's a bunch of links at the bottom. If you go to reports, REPORTS on housing.com, you click on subscribe, and you will get the most recent report will be emailed to you. These are emailed to you directly. There's a PDF version for printing out, Microsoft Word, copy, cut, edit, paste, make it a part of your newsletter or postcard or anything like that. There's an Excel spreadsheet. There's excerpts. You can add your logo to the Word one. And then we have a lot of charts that we update. It comes out every 2 weeks, like I said. We do it on Thursdays because that's when the data looks cleanest. And it's $15 per month or $150 per year. You sign up today, you get a month free. And meaning that if you sign up for a monthly, you sign up today, you don't get charged for 30 days. You get that first month free. If you sign up for annual, you don't get charged for the first month and you get charged 30 days from now. So then your subscription actually starts for 1 year from 1 month from now. So you get 13 months. So you sign up with the coupon code of LA Lakers because LA Lakers rock. And that's my team since I was a little boy. So let's talk about COVID-19 because we have to. People go, why do you talk about it, Steve? And that's because what happens, I just don't want there to be a big outbreak where we have to shut things down and then we have more economic turmoil and then we get this W-shaped recovery. I want to avoid that. So it's something that we definitely have to be mindful of. And as far as the world's concerned, we're at over 25 million cases now. And you can see we're averaging 262,000 cases for the last 7 days. So we've kind of hit this plateau and it's kind of a very, very high plateau compared to where we were plateauing in April when we were at 80,000 cases per day. Now we're plateauing at about 260,000 cases every single day. This is the 7-day moving average. It looks way better than if you look at it day to day. It looks all jagged. So that's why we do these 7-day averages. And if you look at this, this is the United States, a little over, we hit that 6 million mark. LA is the most impacted county in the United States. And actually, they used to have New York City up here. New York City is not a county. They pulled it off of here because LA actually surpassed New York City. And LA County is huge. It is the biggest county in the United States. It took us a long time to get to here, which is why the death rate is not nearly as close to what it was in New York City. And this is the United States. You can see went way up and it's coming down, but it looks like we're hitting another one of those plateaus at around 40,000 cases, and which is a higher mark than the last plateau when it was right around 30,000 cases. So we're plateauing at a higher level and we're getting used to it. And most of this, a lot of these numbers are now coming from these Midwest states. Sun Belt is getting a lot better. Texas is the last to come out of it. California and Florida is doing a lot better. And it's also these darn ridiculous 18 to 24-year-olds that are going back to college. Like my son goes to Washington State University in Pullman. They had like no cases. And then all of a sudden all the college kids got their party together and they had like 100 cases the first weekend. So, and this just shows you what the daily, and this is taken from the University of Washington. They are very good at following all the data and stats. And if you see this, if we did nothing and we didn't care about masks and social distancing and said, it's just a virus, no big deal, that's what the daily infections rate would be, is that red line. The green line is if we all wear masks, which we're not doing. The brown line is in between, so we're doing some masking. So that's why the brown line is the most likely number of infections. Daily deaths, also, if we did nothing, the red one would go through the roof. We would hit a point where it would be 5,000 deaths per day. We don't want to we definitely don't want to do anything like that. We could hit the green one, which would look a lot better if we all wear masks, which we're not doing. So we're probably going to hit that brown line where we're hitting about 1,000 deaths per day until we get to the winter. This was actually revised. I didn't revise it yet. I just saw the headlines. This was revised. By the time I get to December 1st, it was supposed to be 295,000, and now it is at 310,000. There was a big increase, and that was because of what's happening in some of those states that had no problems before, like North Dakota, South Dakota, and many of the other rural states that are being hit right now. So they actually revised this and think that the death rate is going to be at about 309,000 by the time it hit December 1st. And COVID-19 cases per million, as far as if you do it by population, we're actually number 4. That's the United States, number 4 behind Panama, Kuwait, and Chile. You're seeing some of the ones that were really bad before are not even on this list, like Italy and others. So it's the United States got hammered pretty hard, as you can see, and Brazil is not far behind. And then this is positivity rates. This was a couple days ago, it was at 6.3%. I didn't update the one from yesterday, and I heard that we finally got underneath 5%, which is fantastic. We want to be below 5%, which is where we were in June. The positivity rate, the reason why we want it to be below 5% is because we can do contact tracing, and it means we're doing enough testing. When you have a high positivity rate, like back in the day when we first started doing this, we had a positivity rate of 25 to 30%, which meant you were only giving people tests that you thought had it. We don't want to do that. And a matter of fact, mid-September, we're going to have these $5 tests where we're going to be able to check to see if we have COVID. They're not going to be as accurate as the other ones, but if we all do it in mass groups, we're going to be able to identify people that have it and really slow the spread. So it's good that we're coming up with this next form of testing so we can do a lot of testing results. So right now the positivity rate's at 6.3, right at 5%. So we're getting there. We need to be below that. And as far as California is concerned, I don't know if you guys saw this, but they had a problem in reporting. They had a server that broke in the state capitol, and it was the COVID-19 reporting, the test reporting computer, and it broke. 300,000 tests went. They were unable to upload the information. Finally, they were able to do it, and that's why this thing looks like we hit a plateau that went down, then went back up. It should have just continuously gone down and kind of plateaued where we're at right now. 712,000 cases now for all of California. 5,300 is the 7-day moving average. Way better than where we were before, because we were hitting about 9,500 for the 7-day moving average. Now it's at 5,300. So you can see it went way up and it's starting to come down. This is a bell curve that we want to see, and we have not seen since starting this pandemic all the way back in March. So California county cases, number 1 is Los Angeles. They're also number 1 in the United States as far as counties are concerned. California counties, number 2 is Riverside County. They're number 11 in the United States. OC is number 3 at 48,000, number 13 in the US. 4 is San Bernardino, number 14 in the United States. And San Diego is number 5 and number 20 in the United States. And San Diego used to be number 2, but then all of a sudden they got a handle of it and they moved down this line because they're not adding as many cases. Riverside County and Orange County we're duking it out, but it looks like San Bernardino is going to pass Orange County. Orange County is kind of plateauing. So I think San Bernardino is going to surpass Orange County this week. And as far as unlocking the society is concerned, or counties, San Diego County is there, and so is Orange County. We have to track this. I haven't been able to. They just announced this on Friday. This is a brand new system. So there was one system of unlocking counties, and now there's a new system, and it all was unveiled on Friday, and it looks like this. You can see San Diego's the only one that's in the red that's substantial, but Orange County's moving to it very fast. They're going to turn red next. And then I think after that, we'll have to see. I think it's going to be Riverside, then San Bernardino, and last will be Los Angeles. And it all has to do with the case per 100,000. So they're looking at these moving averages on a daily basis, and also the test positivity rate. You can see right now we have a positivity rate in California of 6%. We need to get that thing below 5%. But at 6% in California, it still meets the proper terms that they're looking for. And I'll be bringing up updates as we learn more. But right now, that site actually has some holes in it, and they're still fixing it. Let's look at the macroeconomic outlook. We have before the coronavirus, everything looked great. We were definitely pumping on all cylinders. It was absolutely fantastic. And then we hit the disease, coronavirus. So this is after the disease, and everything just fell like a waterfall or spiked, which meant it was negative, and like unemployment. And people go, hey, Stephen, why are you following all this stuff? And that's because what happens in the overall economy trickles down to the housing market with rents, evictions, financials, all that stuff. And by the way, I don't know, I didn't add this to this, but the evictions, there was a new law that was passed, and it was signed by the governor last night before midnight. And so their evictions were stalled. I believe it's all the way until February 1st. I have the article on my Facebook pages and my personal page, as well as my business page, reports on housing on Facebook. So if you want to take a look at that. And Goldman Sachs says we all wear a mask. We'll save $1 trillion in the economy. I'm an economist, so I'm going to promote that. I'm going to wear masks. I have this mask. You too can have a mask that looks just like this. And you go to allovershirts.com. Costs $15 to get a personalized one. You can put your logo. You can put your wife's picture on, your kid's picture, whatever you want to put on it. You can put on it, wear it. You can have a mustache if you're a female, and be all great. I think we should just have some fun stuff going on there. And as far as everybody knows, Q1 and Q2 were ugly as far as the economy was concerned. It was actually the last 3 weeks in March, but it turned that quarter negative. The second quarter was abysmal. The third quarter, they say on average, is going to be up 20% on average is what they're all saying. So we're going to be out of the recession as of this quarter. Initial claims for unemployment insurance. We got below 1 million, then it got up to 1.1 million. Now it's back down to 1 million. So you can see doing better, but in the long run, 1 million is still the highest in a super long time since like the Depression and that kind of a weekly initial claims. But we're coming down, and I like to look at charts like this. This is the four-week moving average. You can see we're moving in the right direction. It was really negative at first. The 4-week moving average of initial claims is falling to where we need to be. And if you see during the Great Recession, those are like the black line was 2009. That was the worst in the Great Recession. We haven't even hit that line yet. And that is less than, it's like 500,000 is what it was at in initial unemployment claims. And as far as the unemployment rate's concerned, 14.7%. It kept on going down. That was April, May, June, July. We don't have August yet. 10.2% was in July. And 10.2% looks like we're moving in the right direction, but I can tell you it doesn't beat even the worst in the Great Recession, which was 10.1%. But you can see they got the unemployment, but look how fast our unemployment's coming down to the point where if you put your finger on it, you'd probably be bleeding right now. It's like a needle. It's coming up, but it's coming down pretty darn quickly as well. It doesn't mean it's going to continue to fall like that, but it's definitely going to come down a lot faster than after the Great Recession because we did a forced shutting of the economy. There's a lot of people that are unemployed, including my daughter's boyfriend who works for a restaurant. They're now starting to get hours and down the road when they can actually we can go back to a restaurant. Yeah, those industries are going to come back, but it's going to take the rest of this year to get there because we're already in September. So, but you can see as far as unemployment, people like to compare it to the Great Recession. I mean, the Great Depression, now it's on the very, very left-hand side. We had a 25% unemployment rate. We're at 10.2% right now and falling pretty rapidly, so we're going the right direction. As far as, people don't talk about this enough, but they talk about unemployment all the time, but let's talk about the opposite of that. It's called the employed. There are 120 million people that are employed, and those are the people that are calling you, contacting you, and wanting to buy something right now to cash in on these low interest rates below 3%. That is what's driving this market, 120 million employed. And as far as unemployment is concerned, you can see this. This was from December through June. And the unemployment picture, as far as if you had a bachelor degree, it was only off by 2%. Employment was only down 2%. And that is for people that have a bachelor's degree. That's the green line. But if you look at the aqua colored line, that's down 20.6%. That's 16 to 24-year-old. Those are the people that are affected. Those are the people in retail. Those are the people in the restaurant industry. Those are the people working at Disneyland. And those are the people working at movie theaters. Those are the people that are impacted. People don't talk about it enough. And those are the people that are most inclined to have problems with rent, but not necessarily problems with home ownership. There are people that are having issues, but it's not as big of a number. It's people think that because we have all this unemployment that it equals distress. And I bring this up all the time so people understand this really highlights what's really going on. And you look at Dow races losses for 2020. I don't know if you've seen this, but Dow looks a lot better. This is the purchase application index. Even this last week, it was at up 33% year over year. That's up 33% over last year. And you have to understand, last year at this time, we were making our way down to 3.5% interest rates, which were a very, very low interest rate a year ago. And yet we still have year over year giant gains as far as purchase applications are concerned. It's not refinances, because that's been going through the roof, but this is 33% year over year, 14 weeks of year over year growth, and it's actually 12 weeks where it's double-digit growth over last year. So we're doing, there's a lot of pent-up demand in the form of people applying for mortgages and out there looking at homes right now. This is the St. Louis Fed Financial Stress index, when this thing is positive, it means that we're stressed out as far as finances are concerned, as the financial engine of the United States. On the left is the Great Recession, and you can see how bad it got and then how it took a while to come back down. On the right is this pandemic. It went way up high and it fell below zero, which is what you want to have happen. You want it to be below zero to show that there's no stress in the system. We're at negative 0.2468, which means we're below zero. The further you get below zero, the better off you are. We were actually better a week prior, but we're still negative, which means that there's not a lot of financial stress in our financial system. And home builder confidence is the highest level home builder since 1998. That's how strong it is. And housing starts, this also is V-shaped. This is the number of permits that are out there. It too is starting to totally boom. You could tell because home builders are so excited that they can't start their next developments fast enough right now. U.S. retail sales also V-shaped. It's beating last year at this time. So understand that. People are going, well, I know a lot of retail that's hurting. Yeah, there are retail that's hurting, but I can tell you this. If you're like buying bicycles, good luck on finding one. Go try to find a weight set right now. Good luck on finding it. We're just shifting our retail mix. Retail sales year over year are better than where they're right now. So understand that. And global factory activity, this has been really strong. The blue line is the United States. Everybody did this V-shaped bounce. And personal savings rate, we're right now, the latest reading is we're still at record territory. It's like at 15%, right around there. That is the personal savings rate. So there's a lot of people that were saving money during this pandemic. And then this is forbearance. Forbearance is down at 7.21% to 7.2%, and it's 10 straight weeks of drops. It affects 3.6 million people. And I want you to all understand, we're all going to have to ask people if they were in forbearance, if they're a new seller. And we also need to ask them, if they said yes, did they make a payment plan? Did you pay it off? If they haven't fully paid it off, they're going to have to pay their balance plus that forbearance amount. And if they deferred it, which a lot of people are going to defer it, meaning that they had like $15,000 worth of payments that they just deferred, and they're going to put that on the back of the loan. Let's say they have $500,000 loan balance. Well, when they get the demand, when escrow does the demand, they're going to find out that there's 500,000 plus 15,000. So you're going to need to know that because it's going to have to come off the net sheet. If they deferred it, they're going to have to pay it back. It's not free money. So they will have to pay those lenders back. And as far as forbearance is concerned, the reason why there's not going to be a giant wave, did you know that 77% of everybody in forbearance has at least 20% equity in their home? And this was done a month ago. We are actually appreciating right now pretty fast across the United States, so that the number of people that their equity is continuing to rise. So even if they're in forbearance, it might be 77%. In a few months or by the end of the year, it might be at 80% have at least 20% equity.
Stephen?
Yeah.
Hello, Stephen. There's a question. Diego has a question. Do you have numbers for forbearance? How many people have actually missed their mortgage payment?
Yeah, it's right here. The forbearance, the problem is that they're calling forbearance, it's at 3.6 million right now. It's gotten a lot better. It was bad before, it was at over 8%. Now it's at 7.2%. You could hear it's continuing to come down. And so the number of people that it affects is only 3.6 million people across the United States. If you do the top 10%, you're at 360,000. That's it. 360,000 is the top 10%. The reason why I say 10% of those 3.6 billion is because 90% have more than 10% equity. That's 90% have more than 10% equity. That means that only 10% have less than 10% equity. If you have more than 10% equity, you're able to go into your equity and pay it off, your house, and not be a short sale and not be a foreclosure. And I'm here to tell you that out of all those people, the 3.6 million, if it's the 10% is 360,000 that have less than 10% equity, not all $360,000 are going to be unemployed after this. They're going to find employment. They're going to work out a payment plan, or they deferred it. Now they're making their payments again. They're all good. So let's call it half of 360. It's 180,000 that could be vulnerable, that could be short sales and foreclosures. That's going to happen in 2021, and it won't be a gigantic wave. because it's easy for the United States to absorb that when we're talking over, 5.5 million sales across the United States. So we're talking just a small portion of it would be short sales and foreclosures. So it's not as bad as what everybody's making it out to be. I did that about a month ago. You can go to my YouTube channel, or you can go to my Facebook page, and you can scroll backwards and see some of my topics. I talk about the topics that I discussed. One of them I did on foreclosure. And I have a report. So if you subscribe, you can say, hey, Stephen, can you send me your foreclosure report? I'd be more than happy to do it so you understand exactly why we're not going to have those wave of foreclosures.
After I'm done.
And as far as the United States is concerned, they need to get together and they need to do something where they deal with more of the eviction issues, as well as what they're going to do with this money that the executive order spelled out. It was like a shortcut to in this, but there was only 5 weeks worth of money for them to tap into. So they actually need to get together and figure something out. No more Band-Aids, do another package. They're fighting between 1 trillion and 3 trillion. Well, I got an idea. Split it down the middle and just make this thing go away and get us to 2021. So that's going to happen shortly. Just wait for that. COVID-19 second wave is what I don't want to see happen. Nobody wants to see happen. I think that one of the big things that we have going for us is, even if we have more coronavirus down the road, which we're going to have, we're going to be able to adapt to it pretty quickly. There's not going to be the shock factor. We already know what it's like to deal with COVID-19. I'm a soccer coach. I go coach with a mask on all the time. That's how you do it now. You just figure it out. And so just play our cards right, and everybody needs to properly do their thing with social distancing. And let's not forget that COVID-19 still exists, because that's what's going to happen when we get to the next flu season. And this is where I'm going to have to switch gears for a second, because I have LA County housing market. So I'm going to switch gears for a second. I'm going to, let's see, where did my thing go? Where do I go back to sharing the screen? Oh, there it is. I should stop sharing that. Now I'm going to go back to that other, because I'm doing all of Southern California. So I'm going to go to my my update from Friday's debrief. And so you guys can find out exactly what's going on in the housing market. So let's go into it right now. I'm sharing it, going back to sharing. Share screen, and there we go. Sorry, it's going to have this Monaco's financial because of the thing that I got, but I got it. Ooh. Let's see, share there. You guys can see that. So this was taken directly from my housing debrief on Friday. Housing is hot. How hot? It's kind of like the forecast. I don't know if you've seen the 7-day forecast, but it looks pretty warm outside. At least we have had some cool evenings. As far as Southern California active listing inventory is concerned, this is where the inventory was as of last Thursday, lowest level since April of 2013 for all of Southern California. This is where we are at right now. And that was actually a week ago, last Thursday, 25,473. We only went up, there were 61 fewer homes. And so it's going down, but not at a giant clip. We're 43,000 homes almost last year. That was the difference between last year and this year. So you can see there's a lot more homes last year than there were this year in SoCal, 69% more. Today, 25,487. That's 14 more homes than the prior week. So not that big of a difference, right? And where are we going to go for the rest of the year? Slowly but surely down. COVID-19 is not suppressing the supply anymore. It was all the way through June, and it stopped in July. Southern California housing demand, COVID-19 is definitely not affecting demand. Why? Because the market is sizzling hot, and Southern California demand, you can see this is where we're at right now. The last time we were this hot was in 2012. That was June of 2012. And that's demand, last 30 days worth of pending sales. And I'm here to argue that back in 2012, when we had that much demand, it was a different story back then, because we had a lot of short sales, and a lot of those short sales never closed. So way different. And as far as demand is concerned right now, this is where we're at right now, actually a couple Thursdays ago, but I'll be doing it again this Thursday. 21,508, it was up 0.5% in 2 weeks. Last year it's 16,395. It said today. Actually, that was a week over week. 21,411, so it only went down 0.5%. We're kind of hitting a plateau in demand. This is a normal peak, and we're peaking right now. So this is our peak. Going forward, we're going to come slightly down on demand, but it's not going down at that kind of a clip. It's going to be more of that kind of a clip, where it's not quite as much during the fall, and then it's going to start going down for the rest of the year. So it's hot. The market's sizzling hot. People go, why is it this hot? It's because rates are so low. If you look at rates and where they're at, that was actually a week ago. I think I have it at 2.91%. Actually, that was last Thursday. This comes out every Thursday. This is Freddie Mac. They do this mortgage survey. It's been going back 49 years. They've done it. This is the second lowest level behind 2.88%, which was 2 weeks prior. These are record low interest rates that we're hitting. At 2.91%, we are busy. With refinances and purchase market, it is driving everything crazy. If you're in title insurance, I'm sure you guys are very busy with lots and lots of activity. And the expected market time, if we draw a line right all the way across, that's if you place your home on market, when is it going to go into escrow? It's at its best level since tracking it in 2012. That's
Steve,
how awesome. Yeah.
we have a couple of questions. Is this a good time right now?
Sure, go ahead.
Number one, what they're asking for your YouTube channel.
Yes, it's Reports on Housing.
Yeah, reports on. And do you have actual default numbers?
What do you mean?
Actual default. Notice the default numbers.
Oh, NOD numbers. Yeah, you know what? They're not. This is the great thing. Oh, it drives me nuts. So they're doing 30, 60, and 90-day lates. They're not filing NODs because there's been a moratorium on foreclosure activity. So the NOD numbers are way down. So there are. I go to what is that darn website? There is a website that I go to all the time, and it's called. I can give it to you. Hang on. It's called calculatedriskblog.com. This guy followed the bubbles of the last bubble of housing during the Great Recession, and he reports on a lot of this stuff. It's really at low levels. They're trying to include everybody that's in forbearance, but it's a different story. This is not the Great Recession. Great Recession was we had junk deals that were put together. We had these loans where anybody can get a loan. 2 dogs got a loan. Lots of dead people got loans. There were pick-up payment plans. There was subprime. People were selling a whole bunch of mortgages, and in them were these F-graded, zero down loans that they shouldn't have even done. And people were buying them, and they lost their shirts. So the market imploded. We have a different market right now. We can absorb any kind of distress because we don't have enough homes on the market, and the market is appreciating. And why is it appreciating? Because of a low inventory, and we're not going to all of a sudden get a wave of inventory, regardless of what people are telling you. I've been following this stuff for a very, very long time for there to see a spike all of a sudden in inventory. Who's going to list? I need to know who it is. So we're not going to get any kind of a wave. Those numbers that you're hearing spiked in the 60 and 90-day late categories they're just including people in forbearance. And remember, they started going in forbearance in March. So yeah, you're going to get the 60 days, March, April, May, June, July. I mean, yes, those numbers skyrocketed, but they're in forbearance. They could do it for 6 months, and then they could do it for another 6 months if they want to. And then they can take the whole part that they deferred, stick it on the end, and they're gainfully employed. They just need to pay it off at the end of the mortgage term. That's and most of them are going to do that. At first, forbearance means that you owe this amount, you're going to have to pay it back. And they weren't going to do it. At first, it was going to be a balloon payment because they didn't call it a deferral, they called it a forbearance. So, but then the federal government said all federally backed mortgages, we will not do a balloon, we will do a deferment. So then they were deferred, and now everybody across the United States, Bank of America started it first. They were doing deferments before even the United States government was doing it. So it's not going to be that gigantic wave. They've learned they don't want to take people's properties back. So I know there's some real estate agents and brokers and people that are rooting for foreclosures and distress. And why are they? I can tell you, everybody that tells me there's going to be a wave has money to be gained by it going there. That's everybody that has told me that there's going to be a wave. And they like to disagree with me all the time, but they don't throw any numbers or data to back it up. And I follow a lot of data. So as far as the expected market time is concerned for all of Southern California, this is where we're at. It's at 35.5 days. That was a week ago, last Thursday. That was only down, that was a half a day, down a half a day. Not a big difference, but it's still the lowest level by a half a day. We were at 36 days before. So SoCal last year was at 79 days. And this is the difference between last year and this year. And if you look at it actually went up. So when I did the calculations, we went up slightly. So which means that we've hit a bottom of the best time of the year. And now it's going to start to get slowly but surely a little bit longer. You're not going to notice it that much. Your buyers are still going to be dealing with multiple offers. It's just not at the same pace that where we were at. It's going to slow down slightly. So is it the 2020 best? Most likely, yes. And then from there, we're going to slightly go up. And then we get to the holidays, and then it goes up more. We'll be below 60 days, which is a hot seller's market. There's a line that goes across that 60 days. Home values are on the rise. And Southern California expected market time year over year, LA is at 45 days. That's down nothing. Orange County's at 39 days, down 2 in almost a 2-week period. Riverside County, down nothing in almost 2 weeks. San Bernardino, down nothing. San Diego County, up 1. So you can see kind of like we bottomed out as far as everything getting, because we were all the way as high for all of Southern California, like 112 days, and it's come all the way down to where we are right now. And demand dropping? Well, now we're starting to see demand drop in some counties. And we first saw it in Riverside County is down 2%, and so is San Diego County is down 2%. Not a ton, down 88 pendings, but it's enough where we're starting to see a diminishing number of homes that are going into escrow. Why? Because my kids went back to school. I can now get that. What is that? I went to Starbucks and they had it all decked out for fall decor. My wife this morning put out the fall decor. Kids are back in school. I went to Costco. They have Halloween costumes. It's the fall, even though it doesn't really happen until September 20th. It's officially our season because people are going, what's going on, Stephen? How come it's slowing down a little bit? And I say it every year. This is a little bit more muted, but we do have seasons in housing. We have the spring market. That's the best. But we didn't have our spring market. We had a pandemic. So instead, our summer became spring. Our autumn is going to slow from this summer/spring, and our autumn's going to feel a lot more like summer. It's still going to be really good because interest rates are still awfully good, but it's not going to be as hot as it was in the months of June, July, and August. September, October, November slow down. Then we get to the second half of November, Thanksgiving, and we're all going to want to forget about this year, and we're going to just party like it's nobody else's business because we'll probably have a virus vaccine on the other end of this. Good stuff. Then we'll go into the winter, and then things slow down the most. And as far as I told you, the kids go back to school. There's the pumpkin spice lattes. My kids we got a costume at Costco. Yeah, he wanted Spider-Man, but he settled on this because they didn't have his size. So we are going into fall market
here.
Can
I get you another couple of questions for you here?
Yeah, and really quick. So in the autumn, we have demand will drop, and so will the supply. It's normal. That's what happens. Go ahead, Hugo.
Right on. So what are some of the leading economic indicators we can track to help determine the current state of the housing market and where it's going? What do you like to look at?
I'm a subscriber to my own report, so I like to look at the pending sales velocity. I want to see what's going on in the pending sales velocity as well as the inventory. The best things to track are inventory and number of pending sales. When you track the two and you put them together, that is where we're able to see the flavor of the market. See, the difference between our market right now is during the Great Recession, we had a very, very low demand. And interest rates were still, they were starting to come down, but not like they are right now. And we had this supply that was way up here and demand that was way down here. So here we had this supply that was really low and we had demand really low, but then demand started increasing, but we still have the supply issue. And demand keeps on increasing. We still have the supply issue. It's the exact opposite of the Great Recession. So now we have the demand, we just don't have the supply.
How long do you think the Fed will keep the rates this low?
It's not, see, and that's the other thing. You know what I like to, another thing I like to follow is the 10-year Treasury. And I do this in a lot of I haven't done it in a while, but I talk about the 10-year Treasury. We need to follow the 10-year Treasury. What happens in the 10-year Treasury happens in our, as far as interest rates are concerned. If you care about our market, low interest rates are gonna help us. High interest rates are gonna hurt us. Right now, we're so used to these interest rates at 3%. Can you imagine if we were at 4%? Things would actually slow down at 4%. Because we were slowing down in December of 2018 at 5%. And that's because we got used to interest rates at right around 4%. Now we're bouncing around 3%, which I think that once we get towards 4%, we're gonna slow down. We didn't slow down to the point where we had values coming down, but people were concerned that we weren't doing a lot of deals, and that's because things slowed down on interest rates. We're very interest rate sensitive. So watch the 10-year Treasury, because right now it's below 1. Once we get to above 1, understand at that point, because we're well below 1, we've stayed below 1, that means the economy is improving. Once the economy improves, that's when there will be pressure on interest rates to rise. That is what I'm more concerned about than anything else. You can talk about all the other aspects of it being a recession, of there being unemployment. As long as we have these low interest rates, it's going to fuel demand. So it's not until we start to see the economy and people feeling good about it that we're going to see interest rates that go up higher and the 10-year Treasury go above 1.2%. When it goes above 1.2%, that's when unemployment's going to look a lot better. So everything's going to start to look better, and we'll get at 4% in interest rates as well. And just watch the interest rates. And even at 1.2%, we're still looking at interest rates of like 3.5. Can we deal with 3.5% interest rates? I think so. I think we'd be fine with that. I think we'd be fine at 3 3/4 interest rates. But once we start getting towards 4%, that's where we're going to start to see things slow a little bit. So I know that there's a lot of people that are worried that things are going to slow down, but I'm here to tell you for the rest of the year, see that mark, 60 days, we're going to be below it. It's going to be a hot seller's market for the rest of the year. We're going to be below 60. And it's going to line up. So you're wondering where we're going to go at the end of the year. I'm telling you, at the end of the year, we're going to have not enough homes on the market, probably the lowest level of homes on the market to start off a year, with demand really high, because we're going to have interest rates that are going to be good, favorable, I believe, through our spring market of 2021. And that's all that matters, because really we do most of our appreciation during the spring. This year we didn't. Why? Because we had the pandemic. So we did a lot of our appreciation and we do a little bit during the summer. We're doing it through the summer and the fall. And then this coming up year, we're going to do it again. We're going to hit Super Bowl if we have a Super Bowl. I don't know. We'll just have to wait, stay tuned and see. But right around February through May will be that great time, and then we're going to get this great spring bounce and summer bounce where we're going to see values that can go up. And I don't know where interest rates will be down the road, but we'll have to stay tuned and watch. So that's what I like to see. So those are the barometers that I like to look at. And then just follow me, because if every Friday I do a housing debrief. And every Friday, that housing debrief is on my personal page, but you don't have to be my friend, because actually I ran out of friendships, because they only allow you 5,000 on Facebook. And you go to my SoCal Steven, that's my personal page. I do it every Friday at 3 o'clock. I talk about what's going on in the marketplace. So that's really what it's all about. So, and for all those people that are trying to time the market, should I wait to buy? I'm here to tell you, this is the 10-year Treasury that I was talking to you about. You see where we were at? That 2019, at the beginning of 2019, that was 5% interest rates. It's like this cliff. It was really high, and then it came way down. And then it went, then you could see where it fell down further, down below 1, and that was the pandemic. That's why I like to follow the 10-year Treasury. You can see where it's at right now. It's right around 0.75%. It's got to go above 1 for me to start thinking that they think that our economy has improved, and it's not until we probably get a vaccine. And this is where we were, and you could see where we moved to. And what moves the 10-year Treasury? Well, it's negative news moves it down. So we had the trade war. We were actually having a small trade war against Mexico for a time. I don't know if you remember that. We had worldwide slowdown, Brexit, impeachment, volatile Wall Street. We have the left versus the right. We have Middle East tensions. We have coronavirus. All these can negatively impact the 10-year Treasury. The corollary is positive news will bring it up. economic stuff. And that's why we've had these record low rates, because of all the negative stuff around pandemic. But the United States is strong. And once we get our strength and the economy comes back, interest rates are going to rise. And that's what can cool our market. And what cools our market, that just means that demand slows. And that's when America is back. What do we look for? We look at COVID-19. We have to follow COVID-19, because I don't care what if you want to ignore it, go ahead, but it's going to rule our economy until we get a vaccine. And unemployment, got to watch unemployment. Core retail sales, those have been really positive. PMI data, that's been better. New home sales, that's doing better. Consumption, very, very important. Hard hit industries, travel, airlines, hotels, those that have been heavily impacted, we have to watch them because they have to come back too. I don't know if you've watched movie theaters, things like that. So we have to start to see these industries start to come back. And there is a cost of waiting though. So for all those people that want to wait, you can get this slide. Mortgage amount of $700,000, payments at today's rate of 3% is $29.51. I'm thinking minimum 5% appreciation in a year. You're now looking at $700,000 house mortgage, $735,000 mortgage. This is just tongue in cheek, real quick. But know that the value goes up. Even if the payment, the interest rate was the same at 3%, the payment would be $3,099. That's $148 per month more, which is $1,776. But let's say we get interest rates that go all the way up to 4% that I was talking to you about when the economy gets better. Now you're looking at, you've gone from 700 to 735, and you're looking at a higher payment of 3,509. It's a difference of almost $560 per month, which is nearly $7,000 per year. Now you see why there's sensitivity in interest rates. But if you wait, what are you waiting for? I'd rather lock in on a 30-year mortgage that is at $29.51 versus waiting and doing $35.09. So that's the cost of waiting. And at $400,000, it has the same, not as quite the same impact. It's less of a mortgage rate, but it goes from 4 to 420. And you can see when it goes 4%, you're looking at paying an additional $319 per month, which is almost $4,000 per year. So I have any more questions that anybody has, I'd be more than happy to answer it. I know July's closed sales looked absolutely fantastic. Where do I go? Let's see. I got to see, where is it? Stop sharing, Stephen. There we go. So I can open this up to any questions and answers that you have at this time. Anybody, we can open it up. So I don't know if people want to unmute themselves or ask away.
One of the questions that was asked was, how do you think the elections are going to impact?
Oh, great question. People ask me this one all the time. I find no correlation in the real estate market. People go, well, I have a seller that said they're not going to place their home on the market until after. I have a buyer that said it's such a small amount, the percentage. I can show you data going backwards that there's no significant impact. Right now, interest rates are so good that people aren't really listening to that stuff. There's a lot of junk going on right now in the background of COVID-19 and this presidential, the left and versus the right. And there's demonstrations all over the place, people dying and all that stuff. Yet our market is resilient because interest rates are in the twos. So that is a narrative that people like to state that it's going to impact. And I want you to send me a real estate article that has data connected to why it's going to impact it. I have never seen it. So with that said, so I don't necessarily believe it. So I want somebody to show me the data, and but I have not been able to see it. Where it does affect you is the short-term markets, like anything that's short-term. We are too big of a freight train. It's not all of a sudden people are going to panic and fall out of escrow and everything else. They're fantastically, hooked into their escrows because they know what it takes to purchase a house when they've written 10 offers and finally got one. They're not going to all of a sudden cancel because we have a change in administration or the same administration. It doesn't really matter. It's what it's going to affect is Dow. The Dow gets affected, and that too will be the short term. Now people go, see, I told you. And then I can tell you this: 6 months from now, the Dow is going to, and S&P are going to do what they always do. And we're America, and the United States will continue to kick butt. It was kicking butt. It was starting to kick back with Obama. It was continuing to do well. It's continued to do well with Trump. Then it went down. It's not necessarily in presidential administration wise. There are different cycles that we go through, and we're in an expansionary cycle all the way till we got into this recession, and this recession was led by a pandemic, not one industry. So I'm actually bullish on real estate for the next year, and I'm not really that concerned about this coming up election affecting us. If I was in stocks and I was a short-term trader, well, then I'd be concerned, but that's not what I do.
Right on. Well, definitely some great information, Stephen. We appreciate you.
We have a question. Sorry to interrupt. For how long the Fed will keep the rates this low?
Oh, we answered that one, and I think it's the Fed doesn't really necessarily, it's the 10-year Treasury that follows it. The Fed changes the short-term rate. Those are connected to credit cards. Those are connected to your auto loans. It's short-term loans. We don't deal with short-term loans. We deal with long-term loans. So if I can give everybody one piece of advice is, don't listen to the Fed for what interest rates are going to do. Follow the 10-year Treasury like I talked to you about. Instead, listen to the Fed for the direction of the economy. And what they've said is they're not going to be changing it from zero, the baseline zero, for a long time. And as a matter of fact, even if we had inflation, they're going to keep it at zero for a little bit longer than they normally do. So which means they're going to be dealing with the short-term rate. So if you're interested in buying a car, they're at the lowest level that it could be at zero. So just know that that's what we follow for as far as the Fed's concerned. Why you want to follow the Fed is, what are they saying about the economy? And when is the economy going to improve? What do they see? Well, they're pulling out every single thing that they can and throwing the kitchen sink at it because they want to see that our market continues to do well. So we know that will help industries, which will help the economy, which will eventually get us back on better footing.
Stephen, I have a question, and I know you mentioned this. Can you talk about again about what happened last night? I know we have a couple of landlords on this Zoom call, a lot of people that they own rental properties. So can you tell us again what happened last night?
Yeah, there was a moratorium on evictions. I think it's through February 1st. I have the actual article on my on social media, Facebook, both my business page and my personal page. But I would take a look at the article. The article explains it really well. They have to start paying in full. And there was a whole bunch of things they were negotiating last night. I don't know how they ironed everything out. Part of it was they had to pay like 25% or something like that going forward. I don't know exactly what was done. As far as if I was a landlord, I would work with my renters as far as putting them on some sort of a payment plan and working through this whole entire thing. And I have some friends that are investors, but they're wealthy enough where they have actually said, as long as they have maybe one person or two people out of this big portfolio that are negatively affected by COVID, they're actually giving them grace period for going forward until the end of the year. So do what you can, but have a dialogue, open up the dialogue, because that's really what it's all about at the end of the day. But even the rental market is set to do better. You've kind of plateaued in price. We're not seeing rents continue to go up, which is, that would be a no duh type of reply to that, but it's not going down either. And on the other side of this, we'll start to probably see rents continue to go up, because we're seeing the overall real estate appreciate at a pretty rapid pace as well right now.
Right,
and
guys.
Can we see foreclosures for multi-units? Yeah, I'm not as concerned. There's a lot of appetite for people purchasing this stuff. So I don't really see that there's going to be any type of a wave of distress in multi-units either. There will be some people that are in a pickle, but if anything, you're going to see more short sales than you are going to be seeing any foreclosures. But there's a big appetite for people to purchase that stuff as well, because there's just not a lot of real estate that's available. My biggest concern out of the real estate sector is commercial. Commercial is probably my biggest, what I'm most concerned about. And the reason for that is, I mean, you guys all know that I can operate here. This is my office. I have an executive suite that I rent for me and for my employees, and we're getting rid of it in February. I'm paying all the way to February into an office that I don't even go to because we're all working from home and we're getting a lot done and all that stuff. And we figured out a new way of doing this. We Zoom all the time like we are right now. That's going to negatively impact commercial. There are some people that are going to want to go back, but it's still, I'm still think that we're going to see commercial continue to dwindle. And what we're going to do is we're going to see strip centers and big boxes go vacant. And when that happens, we're going to see a lot of people that they can turn these retail plazas into some mixed use where they stick in the back some dense housing. That's my father-in-law owns a pizza place and he owns his building. That's what they did. It's Lennar came in, they bought the old grocery store and that whole, they bulldozed down the whole thing and they're building attached homes and patio style detached homes. And the models are almost done right now and they're going to sell those. And I think that's the wave of the future because people are going, where are they going to build all these new houses? That's where we do it. I know a couple of malls that just need torn down and they can do something else that's slick with restaurants and different mixed use and make it fun and make me want to go there. I mean, that's what it's all about. So that's what the wave of the future for that as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Stephen. Great class. I mean, for sure, it's one of the best ones that we have. And believe me, we have a tough competition. We have Denny's blog a couple of weeks ago, and we have a couple of great speakers, but this training was, for me, the best, really the best. Thank you so much. Maybe we're going to bug you again in a couple of weeks. Maybe we can do this again.
Well, sounds great. So go to reports on housing, REPRTS on housing, and use LA Lakers as your code for a free month.
I put on the chat room your YouTube channel, your website, everything there, even how to contact you. So thanks again. Now to make this Zoom call legal, I need to talk about title, otherwise it's illegal to have Stephen. So I'm gonna go back to last Thursday class. Remember we have Pavan, Maddie, you need to get trained on commercial real estate. If you're not understand commercial, make sure that you get a mentor. We have a great friend who can help you on your commercial real estate. Second, absentee owners. These guys, they own 1 or 2 properties that they cannot continue paying, and now there's going to be a moratorium until next year. That's the way to go. If you want to farm, make sure that you start hitting your absentee owners. You're a title, we can help you with labels, we can help you with some information about these absentee owners. So make sure you contact your title rep for that information. Don't miss the Thursday class at 1 p.m. Thank you, guys. Anything else you want to say, Anthony? Hugo?
No, we're good. Thank you, Stephen. You were awesome. Really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, you betcha. My pleasure.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Bye, guys. Don't disconnect, Anthony, please.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sole. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Great info, guys.
Make sure you type your information on the chat room, your email, and your title rep, so we can send you a copy of this recording and give you more information about next trainings. I think we're gonna have Denny's block again. I think we need Denny's block again, Anthony.
After that one. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Everybody have a good one. Bye.
Bye.